Hi everyone, this is Bama from Bama's Crochet Creations. So today I wanted to explain a little bit more about what I mentioned about working with broken lines and non-broken lines and the importance of trying to have non-broken lines in your pattern. One of my tips indicated that it can create a lot more gaps in the work, as well as more ends if you can't carry the yarn as you would be able to here to the next line. To the next row, and it would still be hidden. So this is a perfect example of what's right and what's wrong. So when you're buying a pattern or when you're designing your pattern, it's really important that you try to do the non-broken lines. Now I'm going to show you two examples. These were given to me by two of my board members, and they have given me permission to use it. So here is the example of broken lines in a pattern, as it was in the in this section here. All right, these are broken lines up here. This is also broken lines. So what happens when you're making the actual graph is you end up with a project that has gaps in it, like this here, like this section here. All right, or even up here. Now I've taken this and I've flipped it. So what happens is sometimes if you look here, you have the join where she's carrying the yarn, and then you have a gap. Now normally I would put a stitch here, a black stitch, and that would enable me, so I didn't realize I was getting a glare, that enables it to be closed off. So there's a lot of gaps in this, and this is what we try to prevent, because when you flip the project over, sometimes these gaps are even a lot bigger. All right, so it kind of looks very disjointed. All right, so this is one project that was given to me by a board member, and here is another one. So what I have here is, this is the pattern for this one here. And if you look at the letter E, you look at that it's got broken lines. Or actually, let's take the N. You've got the N, and you've got the broken line here and here. Normally I would put a block here and a block here in black. And the reason this is important is when you look at the finished product, you can see it on this one really well. I'll try and hold them side by side here. So what we have here is, you can see on the end that it looks broken right here. Let's see if I get it close up. So it looks very broken, as it is in the pattern here. So this here is not broken because on the pattern it was not a broken line. Same as the E. It looks like a couple of dots here because it's a couple of dots here. Because what happens is you're working up one way and down the other, and then you end up with these gaps. So you end up looking like it's almost like a dotted line. You can do dot, 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 you know. And this is what it creates on the pattern. Now, on the flip side of that, sometimes, again, you end up with larger gaps. Let me try and hold this up here again. So we have, it looks a little tighter here, where in the pattern on this side, it looks a little looser. So normally this blanket, when you put it on the bed, would be like this because there are letters on it. But this also applies to when you have a pattern that has just a picture on it. If you leave broken gaps or broken lines, you're going to end up having that disjointed image here. So it's really important that when you get a pattern, buy a pattern, make a pattern, that you really try hard to get one that has what I call non-broken lines, okay? Or joined lines, not disjointed. When they're disjointed, that's how you get the dot, dot, dot feeling or image on your project, as opposed to with the N again, this is a joined line and this is a not joined line. And it would have been easy to actually finish that in this one by just putting another black square right here and another black square right here. So that's my tutorial for today. The importance of when you pick a pattern or buy a pattern is to not have broken lines. I hope this has been helpful for you, and if there's anything else I can help you with, feel free to contact me. This has been Bama from Bama's Crochet Creations. Cheers! Hi everyone, this is Bama from Bama's Crochet Creations, and I wanted to give you a tip. Hopefully it's useful to you. It is for me, regarding broken lines and the importance of not having broken lines in a graph or a crochet project. So here's an example of what's called a broken line. Okay, right here. And here's an example of not a broken line, which technically means that all of the gray is connected. 3 down, 1 across, 2 all the way, and the same thing here. Whereas here, this one would normally be this one right here. So you would have here and then another gray here. These are what are called broken lines. On the flip side, you also notice a little bit bigger difference where they look even more spread out. This is the front side. This is I'll flip it over in a minute for the back. So this is broken lines, and this is not broken lines. I will also be showing you that with non-broken lines, it's easier to carry the yarn, and you're going to save a lot of time, if not yarn, when you're actually doing the darning in of the ends, okay, after your project. Or some of you do it during. I personally do not, because if I have to frog, then I would be really ticked that I gotta, you know, try and take that apart. So here's the carrying of the yarn right here. All right, and there's another one right here, kind of carried over right into the next one. All right, so I'm going to flip the project over. Now, this is the one with the broken lines, and this is without the broken lines. And I'm going to show you the difference between the amount of threads that are used. All right, so here we have, on the broken lines, I have almost 20 threads to sew in, just from the project itself, like in the area of where the lines are. This one here is a strand of extra gray. But, okay, so there's almost 20. This one here is without the broken lines. So you get the benefit of having the lines that join. And I have 12 ends to sew in. So there was no tricks with this. I didn't, you know, do it. I just didn't carry my yarn like I would with the not broken yarns. And look at the huge amount of difference in the way of how much the ends are wasted. Now, some of you may save them for, you know, using for stuffing. I know that's I have done that with some toys that I've made, and but if not, you're using it for, or sorry, you're not using it, and it's wasted. But that's almost double the amount of darning that I have to do in a project that is just, oops, this small, okay, or the eye of the project that I just finished for my grandkids' logo. So can you imagine doing it when you're doing a graph that has, you know, you're working, you got 20 or 25 bobbins going at the same time. And if you're not doing it this way, just how many ends you would have to darn in. That's an awful lot. Not just that, it's easier to carry them. See, here's this carrying from one line to the next, or one row to the next. And it made it nice and easy. The transition was nice. And there's some tricks when you're actually doing the carrying on how to hide it, even within this, because a lot of them you can see are hidden, right? There's the odd one that you know is exposed, and that's okay because it's going from row to row, and that's all right, but it's because it's still part of the same color. So that's my tip of the day. I hope that that's helpful for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment or let me know. This is my first video, so if you do find it helpful and you'd like to see something else, maybe the carrying of the colors and how I hide them, there's a couple different ways. And I will be coming up with another video on different ways to do the stitches for corner to corner. Thanks, this is Bama from Bama's Crochet Creation. Cheers!